Колеги, продовжуємо робочий день. До слова запрошується керівник проєкту «Український медіа-центр реформ» Тарас Качка, який буде говорити про поточний стан реформування в енергетиці. Прошу, пане Тарасе.
Доброго дня, колеги.
Today there was an extended collegium meeting at the Ministry of Energy and Coal of Ukraine with the participation of the Prime Minister. We decided to draw your attention to the situation in energy sector. We will be trying every week to update you on the events in the Ministry of Energy and in the result of first half a year of 2015. There are many pieces of use in energy sector. Everything that has been done provides a whole picture, and the reforms in energy sector are quite comprehensive. The reforms in Ukraine cover the organization of the market itself, the market of gas and the market of electricity. The law on functioning of gas market was approved recently, and that's based on the Ukraine's commitments within energy community, and according to the commitments under the association agreement, this law also reflects the market relations in the gas market, and it is important for ensuring market relations and transparency in this sphere. Also, we need to mention the reform of the electricity market. The law on electricity market was approved a few years ago. It was partially based on the commitments according to energy community, but it has some deficiencies, and because of that, the new version of the law was prepared. And last week, the Ministry of Energy and Fuel presented the draft law together with the energy community, and that confirms the fact that the gas market and the electricity market regulation is taking place based on the association agreement and energy community principles. Within the context of organization of gas market and the electricity market, I would like to mention that the state changes its approaches, talking about presence in the market. The list of companies to be privatized this year includes several of Obelergos, and also the companies of thermal generation. That approach means that the state and the government want to remain regulators, want to remain policy makers, but not be the business player. Besides, this system of movement to regulator and social distributor is based on the decision on developing tariffs. We are moving to tariffs development based on gas prices. There's a discussion in the society about whether that methodology is correct, and the Big Four confirmed that this system is very logical and also quite substantiated. So if we take the figures that the state operates, then the tariffs were calculated correctly, and the state is moving from the mechanism of interfering into the price to the mechanism of subsidizing the population which requires assistance. The population that cannot afford paying full price for the gas they consume, and that is the ideology of the state. When the state steps away from the situation when it was the main player in the gas market. Now, not just the state, but the gas suppliers like Naftogaz company, they have an active position in relation to energy efficiency, because we can make life easier for the population not via reducing the price but via energy efficiency. And we will pay a lot of attention to the measures on reducing the losses of energy in winter period, the measures directed towards enhancing energy efficiency. And finally, ensuring transparency in mining sector. The law on mining sector is the initiative, Extraction Industry Transparency Initiative, which is a global initiative which is planning to open information on how much does the state earn in the mining extraction sector and how this money is then used. We need this initiative in Ukraine for different objectives. First of all, to ensure transparency of the industry, because the society does not trust and has doubts about the transparency of both gas market and the oil market. Who owns what deposits, who extracts, who's mining, and what money is received. Also, because of the intransparency of the market, there are discussions going on whether the taxation is fair. You know that the royalty for oil and gas mining production were increased, and now there's a discussion going on the feasibility of these taxes for producers. These taxes are very high. So now the discussion on taxation, which will be more objective and more open in the future. In autumn, the first report will be presented. We expect this first report in November. And finally, the final block of measures in energy sector is change of place in the market, and these are the efforts directed towards diversification of import of gas and supply of coal, because there's the need to have more balanced access to energy resources. And the gas supply from Russian Federation, the terms of that gas supply should be changed. And today we can say that we see quite efficient efforts of the state as to changing the conditions, the terms of organization of gas and electricity market, reducing the participation of the state in gas and electricity market via more market-oriented approach to setting tariffs, and to ensuring the transparency in extraction sector. We believe that such measures will allow to rehabilitate the market and the relations in this market, because that affects the situation with the finances in this sector, and this will ensure the stability of functioning of the energy market, and also separation of authorities from and the government from business, and that will create more reliable, more transparent gas market in Ukraine. We hope that the assessment of activity in the energy sector during the collegium meeting at the Ministry of Energy will be the same, and we will put a lot of efforts into reforming the energy sector. That is it. Thank you, and see you tomorrow, unless you have no questions. Are there any questions? There's a question over there. It will be in English, right?
Yes, correct. That's okay. Hello, Taras. Thank you for that update on energy. You talked about the role of the state and the role of the private sector in the energy industry. And you talked about some of the regional energy distribution networks. In terms of ownership of networks in the system, sometimes foreign ownership of networks, what are the national security implications of foreign ownership of some of these networks, and how can that be woven into any reforms that are ongoing? Do you think it's safe for energy networks to be owned by Russian oligarchs?
Я думаю, що тут треба зрозуміти, що
You need to understand that first of all, when we are talking about privatization processes and about the possibilities related to ownership in energy sector, the conditions of Ukraine are transparent, are open to foreign investors, but there are some legal restrictions as to impossibility of the participation of the entities or persons who are in the blacklist of FATF, also restrictions as to the subjects who fell under the sanctions or who are under the sanctions. Also, Ukraine in all its international agreements has the possibility to limit to put restrictions on ownership related to issues of national security, and different individual solutions are what the government uses, but also talking about national security issues, they are regulated and they exist in new legislation, they exist in the international agreement executed by Ukraine globally, and bilateral agreements as well, and it's up to the government whether it is feasible to use these legal instruments, but the government is well equipped in this respect. Thank you, Taras. Any other questions or clarifications? No more questions. That was the last briefing for today. See you tomorrow. And the schedule will be on our website in the evening. Tomorrow we'll have a very busy working day.